Hey, everybody. Welcome to So the White Sox Did a What podcast with everyone's favorite host, JJ3, and me, Harry, Riz founder. You like that? It says it right there. We're going to talk to you about all things White Sox and a couple other stuff too around White Sox, but mainly all things White Sox, the current updates, what they're doing, and how they're losing or winning this week. Want to start on our potential championship run that we're seeing, JJ3? What are we, 6-6 in the last 12? I'm feeling the world title Sox are going to be in.
You feeling the world title? You feeling positive vibes all around right now with the White Sox?
Absolutely. And then if we can't make it to a World Series winning, they make enough to buy tickets to the World Series. So either way, we're going to see our White Sox players at the World Series. So I'm excited what these wins mean because I don't know how we're winning. I don't know what's triggering the wins. We had a theory right before we started, or at least I had a theory right before we started. I just don't know if I can repeat it. What do you think your theory is?
So yeah, don't repeat that. But
okay.
we're winning with better offense now, right? We're not scoring 15 runs a game or anything crazy like that, but we are winning with better offense. The Sox are.
When you say better offense, how?
Tommy Pham.
Okay.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. Aside from smoke and mirrors, Tommy Pham has had a positive impact on the Sox since he joined the roster. So, got to give some credit and kudos to him there. I think we touched on his arrival briefly in the previous episode last week. It's continued on since then. Sox had a great road trip against the Cardinals, took 2 out of 3 against them. Positive steps. Not as good of a road trip against Tampa on the road, but hey, it is what it is. You know, those things happen. You can't win every series, but hey, since you were here with me 2 shows ago, now that you're back,
hey, let's go.
Yeah, welcome back. Right, you made a comment inquiring if the Sox had won a series or not. And since you made that comment, they hadn't won any at the time, but since you made that comment, the Sox have won 2 series. So props to you for predicting the future and speaking truth to power. Right? We got 2 series wins on the board.
Applause noise edited in because I just want to first let me pat myself on the back.
Go ahead.
I just want to thank me for all I've done for the Sox. Without me, they wouldn't be where they are today. So,
amen.
If I can,
take a bow. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm just gonna thank me for the wins, and let's keep it going. Let's restart that whole thing. The White Sox have won series. I don't think they won any. They've won like 3 series, right? Or 4.
2.
See, now speaking it into existence. 4 is coming before the end of what are we in? What is this? May 8th. Before the end of May, we're gonna win at least 2 more series, maybe even 3. It's coming.
Let's make that happen. Let's get some more dubs on the board. Let's get some better pitching performances. Let's get some better hitting performances. Let's make sure that everything starts going in a positive direction. It's always better than the alternative.
I've got 2 theories on why we're winning. One is a hot take that people don't agree with my hot takes, but you never know. And the second is more realistic. I'll start with the more realistic one. Our pitching's getting better. Soroka has been absolutely god-awful, but I do think I saw Crochet with a lot more control. Flexen has been a pretty good surprise.
That's true.
Who else? I'm sorry, my phone froze. But yeah, our
start against the Cardinals, he was very good in that start.
Yeah, and he was more dominant with less Ks. Even though I love it when he throws like 10 Ks a game, he had a good 6K game where we still won, and he just had more control. I don't know why he was pulled early. I'm still not sure what Pedro's doing as far as managing, but as long as we can squeeze out some wins, I think it'll be tolerated. But it won't help because we're still going to trade people by the deadline. There's a few more people that are going to get let go. Eloy is definitely going to be one of them.
You think so?
Yeah, I think Eloy is the only one with like real value right now because he's our heaviest hitter. He was gone for like I don't remember how many weeks, but came back and he's our home run leader. And it's like, come on, what are we doing, Sox? But I don't I think they're looking at Eloy more as to pedestal him as a trade target that I won't be shocked a offensive needy team will take. And also coincidentally, when Eloy came back, also partly that is when the winning started too. Just more offense. Either it's they have to pitch around him or just an extra good hitter to take maybe an extra 4 to 5 pitches from a pitcher, get his arms a little bit tired. Whatever it is, I'm not saying our hitting's getting better enough to make a difference, but I do feel like our pitching has carried a lot more than it should. We still have no defense. As far as defensive ratings, plus and minuses, every single person on the field was a minus, except coincidentally Vaughn. Vaughn was a +1, but Maldonado, he's the worst defensive rated catcher in baseball, and I also think he's the worst offensive rated catcher in baseball. I don't know how you still start when your backup Corey Lee is just so much better offensively and defensively. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked to see if the games that we won were games that Corey Lee potentially started. So there's something I haven't looked up, but it's something I'm throwing out there that, again, I would not be shocked about.
I mean, Maldonado's been absolutely putrid. So you're 100% right on that front. He's been awful. He's really at a point where you can't play him. Like you shouldn't be able to play him at all.
Yeah.
You've been trying to trade Eloy Jimenez since before the season started. So I don't know. I don't know if your wish is gonna come true or not anytime soon. But you've definitely been on that kick of trying to push Eloy out the door.
It's not my wish. I mean, I think the world knows everyone wants Robert. I'm gonna be pissed if we trade Robert. So I think Eloy is just the easier target to trade, and then some other team can.
I don't think you have to really concern yourself with Luis Robert getting traded. Again, I'm still not co-signing that Robert stuff. I mean, come on now. But I don't think you have to concern yourself with him getting traded anytime soon, really at all. He's got another 3 years left on his contract, his current contract. You don't really have to trade him right now. He's not like a pitcher where there's always more of a rush to trade pitchers. So I think you'll be okay holding on to him for this season. He's been injured for a while, so he's not on any other team's radar as far as a potential add until he comes back and shows that he's able to produce again. So I think there's a lot of time between now and any sort of Luis Robert trade talks.
We'll see how the season goes. I just put it more on the record, but but back to the pitching. With Clevenger back, now we have a 6-man rotation. Even though Clevenger is I think he's our oldest pitcher, or it might be Tim Hill, but he doesn't count because he's a relief pitcher. I'm pretty sure it's Clevenger at 33. He's just going to be here for the year. But it's Clevenger, Crochet, Flexen, Keller, who I actually like a lot. Soroka and who is the 5th? Is it Banks?
Did you mention Fetty?
Oh, I didn't say Fetty. Yep, Fetty. Fetty's 31. I didn't realize he was so old. He's 31. Flexen's not that much younger. He's 29. But I do like to see. But Garrett Crochet, Fetty, and Flexen have been pretty strong as far as starters. Then anything after that's a toss-up. But it was supposed to be Soroka, our really young guy that we called up from AAA last year, that killed in AAA. But now that he's in the bigs, he just hasn't adjusted to. I guess you could say he hasn't adjusted to professional hitters. I don't know what it is, but this is his last year, so he has to hurry. He has to turn it around this season, or he's going to be gone too.
I feel like you can say that about almost anybody on this White Sox team. Quite frankly, I mean, I said the same thing about Yoan Moncada and before he got injured. So there's a lot of guys that you could point the finger at and say you got to turn it around, you got to pick it up. You need to make some positive moves happen, or you could be out the door. So yeah, throw Soroka on that same list of guys who could find themselves playing elsewhere sooner rather than later. I mean, look, I'm still looking at Andrew Vaughn sideways, wondering what's happened with his game because he's been absolutely
Yeah.
terrible. So there's any number of players on this team that you can point the finger at and say you're garbage. Do better. So yeah, if you want to escort Mike Soroka out the door, I won't complain one bit.
Okay, that was good. Good on our first topic. What's our second topic? You want to talk about White Sox getting lazy and wanting to start their own OnlyFans? When you
Um,
can't find a when you can't find a real job, start your own OnlyFans, White Sox.
so I do not want to talk about the White Sox starting an OnlyFans account. No, I don't.
Okay.
But they are partnering to set up their own streaming service. So we could talk about that.
Yeah, sure. OnlyFans streaming service, same thing.
Same thing,
Uh,
right? I feel you. I understand what you mean.
so
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's a combination of. Look, correct me when I'm off. Chicago Bulls, Chicago Blackhawks, and Chicago White Sox wanting to start not their own channel because they don't own the rights, right? Correct, but move them to a separate channel in a combination effort for just the games, or is it something where now they can create their own reality TV shows like hey, here's the show about cheerleaders for the Bulls and the tryouts for the whatever, show stuff about practices, hire their own separate anchors like Comcast Sports does with Ozzy and what used to be Frank Thomas. Is that the route we're going, just the more familiar route we've seen, but with three teams that in my opinion on their own would make less, where you can make more potentially with your own. You just have to make sure you add. I mean, yeah, you can make more potentially. Sorry, combined. You just have to make sure you add a bunch of other shows to it for that, or no? How is this working?
So essentially, I mean, so they're going to partner with Standard Media Group. They're going to essentially leave um, CSN Sports Chicago. There'll still be a Comcast channel, so they'll still have a channel on Comcast that's dedicated to the White Sox, Bulls, and Blackhawks, but it will no longer be associated to what CSN Sports Chicago currently is now.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, they'll have all their programming, all of the sports will be on their own channel, to where they'll stream everything there, but it'll still be on Comcast. It'll still be on essentially cable services. Um, I personally, I don't really understand the move. I don't get why they would take it this route. I mean, you pretty much already got that whole channel to yourselves anyway. What are you going to fill if you take this? If you go this route and you have your own channel, kind of like the North Side team has with Marquee. Okay, you can do that, but in the same sort of issues that they're finding now, how do you fill all of your airtime for that channel when your team isn't playing? Right. So when it's not, baseball season, what are you going to have on? Right.
Now,
I
isn't
suppose you
that
can have
what?
on Bulls games and Blackhawks games, but those, what I'm saying, those all run sort of concurrently at the same time, right? Baseball season, basketball season, hockey seasons at the same time. Um, you're going to
Wouldn't
have
there be
those
like a?
games.
Wouldn't there be? Would it be like ESPN Classics, where now they have the rights to show the old White Sox games, the old Bulls games, the old Cub. I almost said Scrubs. The old White Sox games, the old Bulls games, the old Blackhawks games.
You should have said scrubs, but that's a really good question. I mean, you're going to have all of these teams there at your kind of disposal, right? And Jerry owns two of those three teams. He owns the
Fact.
Bulls, he owns the Sox. So he'll have a lot of sway and a lot of say so in what goes on that channel. So perhaps you could show old games. How many old games are you going to show? How many old Sox and old Bulls games are you going to show?
Will porn be allowed?
No, I don't
I
think
would
it will.
I will email Jerry. I would like to see some porn on the new combined network, so that way when we have days where Sox are also obviously getting fucked, someone else can too.
So what block of time are you going to put that on? Is that going to be the old BET uncut time slot? Was going to be like that 1 a.m. to like 3 a.m. kind of,
No, I'm
way
thinking
back in the day sort of
prime
time slot?
time, prime time. Like if the game's too much of a blowout and they're ramming it up too much on up the score, like 7-8, it's a smooth transition. Well, since you're already watching one thing ram another, oh, let's show you another, something like that. Just a
yo,
smooth transition.
yo. Um,
But a girl can only dream. A girl can only
um,
dream.
I hope that's not what you're dreaming about, bruh.
No, Diddy, pause. But it's an interesting idea. I don't know if this is some kind of play for, hey, look at how much revenue we're getting. This is our this is a great addition to a portfolio for why we need a new stadium. I don't know what the play is. If it is going to get you more money and you're going streaming route, how is it? The advertisers from streaming? Is it going to be subscription based and not free? So you have to
It would
subscribe.
have to be. It would have to be subscription based.
No, it
And
doesn't
so,
have to be, but it's like, what do I get with my subscription? Because I if I'm gonna pay to watch games, I'd rather go to MLB TV. I'd rather go to NFL app or whatever pass or whatever it is for hockey. Because I feel like we don't care about hockey until the Blackhawks start winning. But I would like to see their revenue format and and how they're gonna make it work.
tell Jerry to open up the books for you. Do some accounting.
Done,
See what he's got planned when you
done.
send that email. Leave the other inappropriate stuff out and put that stuff in the main body of the email for discussion purposes. We need to
I'll
see what's
consider it.
going on with
I'll consider it.
the dollars and cents, because I mean essentially you're essentially going to have a brand new channel on Comcast, per se, for example, right? I would imagine it's going to cost more, or in addition to what you're already paying for your current, cable services. So you're in essence asking your consumer to pay more for your product, and your product's not
Facts.
good at the moment, right? Like your your team is on pace to have one of, if not the worst record in the sport. I mean, they've
Absolutely.
made an uptick in the last 2 weeks or week and a half or so. They're not currently the most disgusting team in the sport of baseball right now. Um, so that's a positive. I think the Rockies might have them beat by like half a game or something like that. Um,
Mm,
but I mean, come on, and this is the same thing with the stadium. Trying to move the stadium again to a different location. Like your product on the field is trash, but you're trying to gouge the city of Chicago to help you build a brand new stadium in the 78. Your product on TV is hot garbage, but you're negotiating a brand new TV deal to have your own channel, your own network, similar to what the North Side team has, but your product is in a lot of ways unwatchable. So you're going to continue to ask the consumer to support with eyes, ears, and dollars on your product, and your product is not worth consuming at the moment. It's a tough
facts.
ask. In my opinion, it's a tough ask. It's a
No,
tough
you're
sell
not
for
wrong.
your fan base. So I don't, from that standpoint, I don't understand it, right? Maybe there's definitely a financial component at play with Reinsdorf, because everything he does is about a financial component and trying to milk as much as he can from his fans of his teams, Bulls or White Sox. So there's definitely the financial component at work. In my opinion, there would have been a different or better financial alternative to pursue, but this is the route that he chose. So here we are.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm sure the story will develop the more we go, and yeah, just kind of figure out what they're trying to do. yeah, everything's a money play. How is this going to make you money? You own two of the three teams, so with the Blackhawks owner, how is this going to make him money? I'm sure it'll bring him more views in a sense. But yeah,
The Wirtz
or maybe
family is just along for the ride. It seems like.
yeah, or just they're focusing on, hey, let's try to see if we can target the non-cable heads because cable is getting less, and we have to find a way to target that market as well too.
I mean, that market is dying in a lot of respects, and baseball in and of itself is a regional sport. Like your your team is popular within the region that it resides in, obviously. So, um, does Jerry have a master plan at play to kind of flip this and make the most money possible? We'll find out. We'll see. To be continued.
I mean, yeah, let's say something dirt cheap like $3.99, where City 2.6 million in or 2.6 million in city limits, 9.3 million Chicago land. You only need you only need 100,000 people paying $3.99 a month. That's or $4 a month. That's $400,000 a month. So I mean that's good extra revenue, and then multiply that by the year. That's close to 5 million a year. Like I think it's like 4.8 million a year in app revenue that wasn't coming from anywhere else. But then you also probably got to split that three ways. But that's just off subscriptions. We haven't even discussed advertisement money and things like that. So yeah,
Right.
who knows? I'm sure it'll make money however they do it. And they only need 100,000 people to subscribe to probably look reputable with it. If you have less than 100,000 people, it's probably not worth it. But we'll see.
Yeah, man. We'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes. There's questions, right? I mean, and we kind of knew this was coming, right? It was on its way. We brought it up on previous shows. It's on its way, and now um, it's becoming more realized by the day. So, as more details come out about it, we'll continue to discuss it.
Clevenger's debut. Did you watch
That's
it?
your boy. That's your boy.
Hey, I like Mike Clevenger. I am a Mike Clevenger fan.
I see that. You
Um,
keep talking about him. I'm not a Mike Clevenger fan. I would have
I
preferred
mean,
him to come back to this team, but you needed
I mean,
bodies.
we're here now as a fifth option. Uh, yeah, a couple things happened earlier within the last 7 days. Grossman got traded, which was kind of a mud trade. He's back with Texas, so they really missed each other. And then Clevenger debuted, and his debut wasn't the worst. He did give up only 6 hits, but he gave up 3 runs or 4 runs with those 6 hits. Didn't get any strikeouts, but for some odd reason, he looked way better than Soroka, even with giving up so many hits and 0 Ks. But it was just the first start. Nice to see him back. What did he go last year? 12-12, I think,
Uh,
record
he,
wise.
he had a fairly decent year last year. Nothing to write home about. He wasn't awful, but he definitely contributed and gave the Sox some good games. Again, he's back because you need people to eat up innings, right? Your
Facts.
pitching rotation is in shambles in a lot of respects, so you needed guys to come back to this team to eat up some innings. And I stressed that point from day one. You have to have guys capable of eating up innings for you. You can't just chew through your bullpen too quickly and not be able to get through the season. You got to have starters who can go 6, 7, even potentially to help you just get through the season. So
Who would you
that's the
say has been
primary
our
reason.
best? Who would you say has been our best closer? Is it Kopech? Is
It's
Kopech really a
Kopech.
closer or more a middle reliever?
It's Kopech.
So you count him as a closer, not a middle reliever? Because I was going to say closer. I'd put Tony Banks because I still don't know what um, Kopech is, but Flexen has also been used in all three spots: starter, middle relief, closing. They don't know what to do with Flexen, but I think they should keep him a full time rotational guy.
I think you have a lot of that can be up in the air. I'm open to flexing starting. I have no issues with that whatsoever. I think I think the entire purpose of moving Kopech out of your rotation was to see how he performs as a closer because they didn't have anyone to put in that spot at the beginning of the season. So he's been in that spot a few times now, and he's given you some positive results. I think you keep him there. There's no reason to move him out of that role unless some team comes calling. So while you were trying to ship out Eloy Jimenez, um, it's a greater likelihood that teams come calling for Kopech than they would come calling for Eloy Jimenez or even Luis Robert.
Really? Why is
So
that?
well, I mean, again, it's baseball. You're always looking for guys who can close. You're always looking for guys who can come in and pitch in relief. So those players become higher commodities as the season goes on, as injuries happen, as teams start gearing up for the postseasons, trying to win divisions, trying to win wild cards, trying to advance. Pitchers become a greater premium. So yeah, if Kopech continues to produce, and I mean, look, I'm not saying he's, you know, the greatest closer in the history of the world right now or anything like that.
Right.
But he's been more than serviceable in that spot. He's done the job when he's been called upon, when his managers used him properly, because I've already seen enough examples of his manager not using him properly. So, and I've made plenty of